Hi, I'm here today with a very, very inspirational lady who's agreed to come on. And this lady, the reason why I was so glad that she's come on is she used to be in an MLM, but now she really is running her own business, selling her own cosmetic creations, essentially, isn't it, Becky?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I want to do is I want to say, first of all, tell us about the MLM that you joined. Tell us how you got sucked in.
Okay. Well, going back in time, back to 2013, I was in a job which I really didn't like. It was call centre based. I hated it. You know, one of those jobs where trying to drag yourself out of bed in the morning to go there.
All my jobs.
Please, somebody phone me and tell me that the building's on fire so I don't have to go. You know. If we had a fire drill, if you had a fire drill, you'd be like, please let this be real.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't, and I used to have to go to this job on a regular basis. And in 2013, something else very big in my life happened, and I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And fibromyalgia, for anybody that doesn't know, is a chronic pain condition. It comes with a whole host of symptoms, and to start off with, I thought I was going mad. It started with just a pain in my arm which wouldn't go away, but I thought I'd done some serious damage to it, and I ended up taking myself off to A&E, and it was that bad. And they told me there was nothing wrong with it, and I thought, well, either you're crazy or I'm crazy, because there is something definitely wrong. And they told me to go to my GPs if it continued. Obviously it did. I went to the GP. Cut a long story short, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. At my very worst, I was 3 or 4 days a week in bed, where I couldn't get out of bed, due to the pain and the fatigue. And I ended up losing this job that I hated, which personally, I wasn't too bothered about the job. Financially, I needed it. And then a friend of mine told me all about this MLM that she was in. Obviously, she didn't say it was an MLM at the time.
So did you know what an MLM was before she told you about it?
Yeah, I kind of did. I mean, I had kind of dabbled back in the day with Tupperware, believe it or not. Right. And I actually did really well with Tupperware, but it was structured very differently to how they do it today.
What years are we talking about here?
In Tupperware, gosh, that was...
Because there was pre-social media MLM days and post. And I think there were two different sort of recruits, wasn't it?
Yeah, very much party plan. Kind of the same, but where your upline would disappear from you after a certain period of time. So that was always kind of sliding away. So it wasn't this continual pyramid. So with that in mind, I thought I had quite a good experience with Tupperware. But my friend approached me and she said, look, it was Forever Living, aloe-based products.
Forever Living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think out of all of the MLM companies out there, I do actually think Forever's products are actually quite good.
I always say that the products that the MLM sell are usually good quality products. So there's nothing actually wrong with the products. The problem is they just don't compete in a normal market, because there are just competitors out there that are equally as good for often a lower cost, and they're more easily accessible.
Yeah, absolutely. So she gave me this basket of products to try, and said, I'm going to leave these with you for a week, see how you get on with them. And I did really like them. I thought, these are really quite nice products. But then came the aloe drink is going to help you with your fibromyalgia.
Right.
So
okay.
I was very much at a place where I would have grasped onto anything at that point to try and help me with the situation that I was in, both financially and with my health as well. So I was very interested, and I started obviously looking into it a little bit more. And then it was like, well, why don't you come along to one of our presentations where you can see, find out more about the business. So off I went to go and find out more about the business. And I thought it would be a really good idea after what I saw, and about how much money people were making, and about how much it was improving their life, and you could get a car.
And you got the sort of leaders on the stage that were kind of telling you, look, I was disabled once at home and I couldn't go out to work, and look at me now, look at my amazing life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's very sort of same story that you literally hear kind of over and over and over and over again.
And I was just like, there's a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, hope.
If I can do this, and why shouldn't I be able to? You know, I'm really good at talking to people. I know my stuff when it comes to natural stuff, you know, natural products. I believe in the products. I've got lots of friends on social media, you know. Why should this not work for me? You know, if it's working for all these other people, then it's bound to work for me. Because, you know, I think I'm actually just as good as these people.
Yeah, but little did you know, they weren't what they said they were. They were actually, it's this fake it till you make it motto that is so ingrained in them. It's kind of, you know, we're this, we're that, but then when you look in the background, actually they haven't earned anything. And this is, I heard so many things I mean, that was the first MLM that tried to suck me in, was Forever Living. And I remember a couple of years later, there was an article in one of the papers, and it specifically mentioned Forever Living and how they just, all these leaders were faking it, and none of them had earned any money. And I imagine some of those leaders were some of the ones on stage in front of you that day.
You'd go to what they called success days, where you'd learn about the products, and you would see you know, the leaders up on like these big stages, you know, and we'd have to pay to go to these events.
Yeah.
You know, and they'd be there with like these great big checks for like huge amounts of money, and you'd have cannons going off and fluttering confetti everywhere, and, you know, playing The Girl Is on Fire as they're walking onto stage. You would be like, I want that to be me.
It's the people in the audience. It's so real, isn't it? And this is part of the sort of process of brainwashing, isn't it?
And lovely people, you know, it wasn't as if you'd look at them and go, oh, do you know what, they're trying to sucker me in here. Lovely people. But then it became very, very apparent that my whole role there, as a forever business owner, was more about recruiting other people in. And that was very much what they focused on, what they concentrated on.
Carry on.
It's like my whole purpose within, as a forever business owner, was to recruit more people. You know? And it's, you can't just go, oh hi, I'm going to be a forever business owner. You have to hand over money to do that as well. So
how much was it to join? Sorry,
I can't quite remember. It was either 120 or 160.
Bloody hell,
something like that. It wasn't cheap. And, you know, I had to save up to do it as well. It wasn't. You know, the situation I was in financially.
You must invest in this business. You know, you get all these amazing products.
And how that's sold to you is the products that you're getting are actually you're getting them cheaper than if you were to buy them individually. And you know, if you invest in your business, then you are more likely to make a go of it than if someone handed it to you on a plate. Which all kind of makes sense when you've got someone telling you that. Of
course. And they say it with such conviction, don't they? And they're showing you the money they've got. You know, it's seemingly all the evidence is there. What reason would they have to, you know, to make any of this up? Why would anybody be, and that's my whole thing. And I think I mentioned it when I was talking to Laura McGuinney last time. I remember when I went to an Ann Summers party when I was a student, and the automatic assumption was, you know, we took all the free stuff because we just thought it was a company, an Ann Summers company incentive, because the whole kind of thing is, well, nobody would work for free. Nobody would do all this for free, would they? Because you don't understand the mechanism of the brainwashing, which begins the day you go to those meetings. That's when it begins to start. So with the brainwashing, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so you very much as well encouraged to then take other people along to these presentations.
It's also positive, isn't it? You want to share that positivity.
Yeah. And I mean, I can remember as well, you know, being given tasks to do on social media and sitting
What sort of tasks?
Yeah, sitting there with my phone thinking, I can't send this message. I can't send it.
I would have been the same. I would have been the same, don't I mean, I would have been the same.
You know, it's like, I don't...
Give me an example. Give me an example.
There was one where we were... And, you know, it was really quite clever and it did actually work. but even so, it was still cringeworthy, and I can imagine that everybody after that would have completely avoided me at all costs. And it's a product that I actually still use from Forever, because it is a very good product, which is a toothpaste.
Yeah.
But we were encouraged to go through our friends list and send them a message and just go, hey, could you do me a favour? And wait for them to respond. So then when they respond, what are people going to say? Yeah, of course I will. Or depends what it is. But it's a very open question. So it would be like, hey, can you do me a favour? Yeah, of course I will, Becky. You know, what is it? Well, I'm with Forever Living, and we've got fantastic toothpaste, and I'm just looking for people to try it. Would you be happy to try that for me? People at this point are under the impression they might be getting something for free, so they're
yeah. And also the MLMs weren't, as we were talking about 2013 or 14, was it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as widely known about. I mean, like I said, Forever Living was the first one I ever heard about, and I still didn't have much understanding of an MLM. I knew that it was something weird where they were kind of, you know, and I could see by pictures that the people were posting, because I had a few on my Facebook, that it was kind of this whole ultra positive thing, and that there was something weird about it, but I didn't have any more understanding. So my friend would have said that to me, would have gone, yeah, sure, send it, you know, come on over with it. Looking forward to that.
So then they're like, oh, you know, well, of course I will. And so we'd be like, well, brilliant. So it's however much it was back then, a tube. Do you want one or two? If you want two, I'll do it for you. Oh no, do you want two for such and such a price? And then they've got nowhere to go. Then they either say one,
because it's the British thing, isn't it? You know, we're British, but okay, then you can't sort of back out. It's like, okay, then. You know, I always joke. One of my best friends is Russian, and she doesn't have the whole British thing. And I always think that stuff like that in countries like that just wouldn't work, because they just turn around and be so blunt with you and say, no, I don't want to pay for it. But when you're sort of British and American, actually, I spent 6 months in America. We are very similar in that way. As somebody says that, and it's like, oh, okay, then, yeah, no, okay, you don't want to do it, but you do it because it's awkward not to. And that's why they work so well in America and here as well, to a lesser extent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to be rude to people. You don't want to tell people they're doing something stupid, because it's our way.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you soon get into the, you know, where you're encouraged as well to give products out to people to try. But obviously that costs you money. Yeah. You know, it's who's going to pay for that? You know, they're not. It's coming out of your pocket. Did
anyone actually decline your toothpaste offer?
Do you know what? No, I did really well out of it.
Because they wouldn't have done, would they? They would have been like, damn, but they would have still had to have done it, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So I got all these orders for toothpaste.
But how did that would have, I mean, the impact that would have had on the even minor relationships you might have had with some of those people, they would have been pissed off, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been happy about that.
Well, there was people that said yes and who I'd contacted, but I didn't even really know that well, or I'd not spoken to for a very long time. So yeah, it's looking back, it's really cringy, and I wish I hadn't done that.
Did you ever speak to any of them afterwards and be like, oh yeah, sorry about that?
Never mentioned it again.
Oh no. Should we just forget that ever happened?
Yeah. But you know, you are encouraged to do that kind of behaviour, to you know, go through and build up a list of you know, people that you can prospect, that you can talk to about the business and approach about the business, and your upline asking you who you've contacted. You know, do they want to, you know, shall I go and do a follow-up with you? And it is more about the recruiting. I don't think it's ever about the products. It's always about recruiting.
In my kind of limited experience, from what I have heard from people who have left, it's very much you're dragged in on the basis of, look how lucrative this is with your instant commissions on this and your instant commissions on that. And then once you're in and they've got the clause in you, that's when it's like recruiting. And that's why I did with my new skin video. I just wanted, because my whole thing is with my videos, I want to show people how stupid it is to even get involved. And I know that you can talk about compensation plans and recruiting, but they don't get it because that's not what it's been sold on. So with my new skin, I showed how you're never going to be able to sell that thing that thing no one's ever going to buy it to. So this instant commission they're talking about, rubbish. Because that is how, you know, you sell this toothpaste and you'll make this much money, and you sell this and you'll make this much money. This is great. If you only need to make £100, that would pay your bills, your gas and electric bill, you know. But once you're in, it's like, look at her and look at her, and you can get this car here and you can get this holiday here. And I think that there's also this kind of sense of in crowd, isn't there? Of, you see all these kind of glamorous, popular girl at schools, the girl that never wanted to talk to you when you're at school, but now if you do what she says, you can get in with her. You just have to recruit loads of people and buy loads of product, and she'll give you the time of day. This woman up there, she'll give you the time of day. She'll give you, it doesn't matter that you've got fibromyalgia, you're going to be in the in crowd soon. And I sense that so much, this dynamic. In all the ones I see, I sense that dynamic. So I get it. I get the whole brainwashing machine now, because it's just sort of taken from other aspects, triggers from other parts of your life, sort of all put in one big thing, and boom, there you go. And before you know it, an intelligent lady like you is doing things that you can't even believe you're doing. And that's why I know that this could have been me in another life. I know it could have been, you know, and that scares me.
And I do think there's so many MLMs out there now that are, they're not as nice. They are a lot more cutthroat. That, you know, it's Forever Living, like, it's one of the good ones. Like I say, some lovely people, fantastic products, but it does seem that people latch onto this MLM model and aren't really thinking about what the product is that they're necessarily putting out. They're thinking about how they can get people in and recruit them, and it's just this big recruiting machine, and how they're going to please their upline, and their upline is going to put a thing on the social media, Instagram or Facebook, going like, oh, this superstar, you know, and everyone's going to then put comments telling that person in the comments, you're so amazing, you're smashing this. And I mean, this is stuff that a lot of women haven't, probably maybe never heard before. You know, they've never had, you know, 500, not 500, maybe 50 women in a comment feed purely telling them how amazing they are. And that is going to feel good. That's going to feel good to, you know, the single mum who hasn't been able to leave the house all the way through lockdown and probably hasn't spoken to many other people, and kids are screaming. That's going to feel good to the disabled person who feels like absolute rubbish about herself and feels absolutely useless, and suddenly this is happening. There's a trigger for everyone, and they hit the nail on the head every time. Oh gosh, absolutely. I mean, there's positivity, to me, is absolutely key. That our business that we run now is absolutely totally built around positivity, but it's genuine positivity. You see so much of this toxic positivity. You know, it's just regurgitated. Forced positivity. It has to be forced, because the situation you're in is not a positive one, so you have to force the positivity because it's not really there. You know, and if you don't show that you're being positive, then it's your fault that you're failing. It's your fault. It's your fault. Your fault. Your forever business didn't work. You're too negative. You know. But so move on. How did you eventually wake up and realize how destructive this was, and eventually get out? I think it was my bank balance that told me that.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah, you know, I was in a situation, like I say, where I wasn't working now because I'd lost my job through my fibromyalgia. And it got to the stage where it's like, my thought process went, I can't afford to keep doing this. I can't afford to keep buying the products to give them out as testers. And then I was just like, that makes no sense. Because if this was a real business, then that would be able to sustain that. The fact that it's
rubbish commissions of, you know, 20-30% commission, that's absolutely rubbish. I mean, the amount of samples you have to buy, how many of the products you have to sell just to break even?
Exactly.
I mean,
it's like, you know, it's coming out on my bank account. I'm giving people Forever Living stuff. I'm buying it and I'm giving it to people.
Well, the Forever Living don't care because all the money goes to them one way or another. You're the customer. What you then do with the products you buy, you can, it's up to you, isn't it? If you want to redistribute them, but essentially you've bought them, you're the customer.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the realization I had, that I can't afford to sustain this. So I'm going to have to stop.
Yeah.
And I think I was quite fortunate. I was in a situation really where the people that were in my upline had kind of realized the same thing.
What years was this? How long were you in for?
Gosh, not long really. It was 2000 and probably about end of 2013 that I joined.
Yeah.
Probably mid 2014 before I even started trying to do anything with it really.
Yeah.
And late 2015. So probably about a year trying to be really active at it. Which I think if you can't make something like that a success, where you're working with products that have got a recognizable name, where you know, all the marketing's done for you, then you know, if you can't make a go of it within 12 months, then you know, you're not going to. And you know, it's just, you see these great big numbers banded about, and I think this was another kind of light bulb moment that I had as well. You know, I was flicking through a Forever magazine, and there was pictures of all the leaders with their big checks on a stage somewhere in either Singapore or Australia or somewhere. And you know, and they were for huge amounts, you know, sort of like £100,000 and not little amounts.
Well, they went massive, didn't they, Forever? I remember they were so huge, so huge, and then suddenly they were there, and then one day they weren't there. They're just gone. And all the people on my Facebook, there was about 3 or 4 of them who were selling it, suddenly everything disappeared. And it just seemed like an overnight thing. I now, looking back and having researched into it, they hit their hype phase, and then they went into decline. And actually now I do see they're starting to gain a little bit of traction again now, as is the nature of the you know, the pyramid model.
It undulates, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Then I had this thought, and I thought, right, well, they've paid for all these people that have got these big checks. They've put them up in luxury accommodation. They've given them spending money. They pay for everything while they're there, all their travel, all their transport. They have put on this all singing, all dancing, you know, event for them. And then given them these great big huge checks. Where's that come from?
It's come from people like you, all the people who have been putting their own money. I mean, you've got leaders in FM world now making £100,000 a month. Are the people at the bottom? Well, we know the people at the bottom are. We know that the 99% are either making no money or losing money. I mean, we know that's a fact. The majority of people in MLMs, but the problem is because there's that many thousands and thousands of people involved in these MLMs, that these people in that 1% go into the hundreds. And you know, it gives this illusion, because you never see this mass of people who are putting in, because they only ever show the ones that are successful. It gives this illusion that there are so many successful people that it is achievable by anyone, but they don't show how many is underneath each one of those successful people. And that's what I try to do with my Truth About FM World videos and the sort of subsequent ones. I mean, you show that, I mean, I've done one where there's 2 million people in FM World to get to certain people's downlines. And these people are telling everyone, you work hard, you can be like me. If everybody in FM World were to get to that success, you'd have to recruit the entire adult population of the planet. And you run out of people so quickly.
It's like a cheerleading platform. You know, when you see cheerleaders and they do this platform, so you've got like sort of like 5 at the bottom and then 4 on the next row. There's only one person that's going to be able to wave their pom-poms. That's the person who's on the very top.
That's what everyone's looking at.
Because all the people underneath are busy holding that person up.
And this is the important thing that I try to stress to people all the time, is there is a big picture here, and you need to take a step back and understand that the fact that the vast majority make no money or lose money. Take a step back and look at the leader and realize that underneath each one of those successful people, there are a bunch of mostly people who have been in your position, desperate positions, vulnerable positions. And I'm sorry if those words annoy people, but that's a fact, right? you don't get sucked into these unless there's something. You had a disability. You needed a way out. This gave you hope when you were at the most hopeless time in your life,
Absolutely.
right? And you are an intelligent woman, and we're going to find out now where you went from here to prove to everyone how smart a lady you are. For somebody like you, who's a smart, creative entrepreneur, to do this, anybody can get sucked into this. You just need the right environment. And remember, under every one of those glamorous, popular girls at school, there is an army of women, mainly women, 90% women, who are probably at some of the most desperate times in their life. And they may put inspirational quotes on Facebook and they may smile to the outside world, but what's going on behind the scenes ain't good, is it?
No.
So that's what we need to drum down as people.
And I'm very sure there are people out there who have read every Eric Worre book, that have read every Phil Jones book, that have listened to every podcast that they've done, that has watched every YouTube video that they've done, that think that they really have done their homework when it comes to working within an MLM, and think, this isn't going to be me. I am going to make an absolute go of my business, because I do think everybody obviously goes into it with really, really good intentions, and thinks not just that they can make some money for themselves, but they've got a quality product. You know, I'm sure nobody would go into a company thinking that they were representing a product that was anything but fantastic.
So this is like, the products are not bad; they're good quality products. They have to be good quality products. I mean, the business bombshells products are another story, but that's very cool. But the people who I speak to, and I have learned. I was very harsh in my FM World video. I called all the leaders bitches and all that. I've spoken to several leaders at FM World, and the ones I've spoken to, I don't think they've got any bitchiness in them. They got involved in this because they thought they had a great product. They said, this product sells itself. They did get in early before the boom, but they had a great product that sold. And all the people I speak to, it's always the same story. My MLM's different. But they argue about this great product. And my argument is, yes, you have a great product. It has to be a good quality product, else you're not going to convince anybody. The problem is, your product is an MLM product. MLMs are getting more notorious by the day, and it's overpriced. It's overpriced. It wouldn't compete in a normal market. And I can go down. Why would I buy your product rather than going? I'm in the supermarket doing my food shop later. I could buy a Nivea off the shelf. I could buy Colgate. Why do I go and buy your Forever toothpaste or your Forever moisturizer when I can just, when it's cost 3 times as much, I just pop down to Sainsbury's and get what I need. So it's always going to be a charity buy for the most part. I literally, Beki, a friend came on to me because I'd invited her to our group, and she was saying, well, is this an MLM? And she asked me, is Body Shop at Home an MLM? I said, yeah. And she said, oh, I was about to buy something off one of my friends, so I felt sorry for her. I said, don't do it. You're encouraging it. Don't do it. I felt sorry for her. So it's this charity purchase, and you can't sustain a business off making people feel sorry for you.
Oh gosh, no, not at all. Not at all. Running a business is such a complicated thing, and it's your baby.
Let's go on to that, please. So you left because you just looked at your spreadsheet and said, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And after you left, how did you go from being an ex-rep to being a real business owner?
I was very, very lucky. My world changed in 2016 when I met my fantastic partner, Mark. Mark's a research and development scientist by trade. He had a very successful business, and he was making components for contact lenses in the pharmaceutical world. So he would make ingredients that went off to make the contact lenses. So the ones that would, if you were having surgery on your eyes, that kind of component. So his knowledge, as you can imagine, is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
He came to my house one day, went to make a cup of tea, went in the wrong drawer, looking for a teaspoon, and all my meds just literally jumped out like a jack in a box. And I mean, I was on medication. I was on morphine patches. I was on tramadol. I was really powerful. And I was on the top notch of this amitriptyline, fluoxetine, all sorts. And he just appeared in the front room with like handfuls of them, and he was like, Beki, this has to stop. And he said, I'm going to make you some products. I'm going to make you some things that I think will help you. And
Wow.
I was a bit kind of like, that won't work.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they did. And they worked so incredibly well. Within a couple of months, I was completely off of all my medication.
Wow.
And I said, we can't keep this to ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't. There's so many people out there suffering. There's absolutely no way we can keep this to ourselves. And that was the moment.
So what are your products?
So we do a range of products. Our best seller is Pain Slayer, which is a topical balm.
And I'm going to put all the links for your website down below. This is Beki's. This is no MLM. This is all you and your partner. But it's you. You are the driving force of this, aren't you, Beki? You have,
We sell this online through our website directly. It's not available in any shops. It's definitely not available through any MLMs, even though we have people approach us and say, we think your business would make a really good MLM. And
bloody hell, really?
Yeah. So absolutely.
Wow.
No way.
You see how tempting it is, can't you? Because, especially in hard times, especially if you've got no little knowledge of what an MLM is, someone says, oh, we look at this as a business model that can shoot you, be rich in no time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Pain Slayer, this size Pain Slayer, we do it in 3 different sizes. This one's £11. If we were an MLM, that would have to be about £40.
Of course. Because it's a the pyramid, doesn't it? Have to go all the way up.
And nobody would be able to afford that,
Well, the reps would afford it, of course. They would find a way.
And I wouldn't be able to sleep at night because Pain Slayer is a fantastic product and I couldn't manage without it now. It is how I manage my pain completely. But I couldn't sell it at an overpriced value. It's not worth that. Isn't worth £40. Our big jar we sell for 30, and it's. And to me, it's all about value for money with a fantastic product with the customer service. That's what builds a business.
Somebody calls you up, Beki, and they say, I've tried your Pain Slayer, and it's brought me out in a terrible rash, and they send you a picture of the rash. What do you do? What do you do in that situation?
I'll stop using it straight away.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare. I think I did a recent study of 330 customers, and out of that 330 customers, we had one person that had a reaction. I'm out of pocket now, and this cream doesn't work. Do you issue them with a refund, or do you say, well, you should have consulted your doctor before you tried our product? I mean, we would always say if somebody had a reaction to Pain Slayer, I would say to them, obviously stop using it, don't use it again. We would talk to that customer. We would see what we could do to help them. Sometimes people could have a reaction to a product if they think they've had a reaction to a product, and it's not actually that, it's something else. And they presume it is. So you do some investigation work with them, look to see what other areas, you spend that time with that customer to help them, because that's what you do within a business. It's not really a problem that I've had to cross. But
would you issue a refund, or would you?
If somebody isn't happy with what we do, I would rather they said, do you know what, I tried that, but it didn't work for me. But the company was fantastic.
Yeah.
To just say to somebody, well, you've bought it, you're on your own now.
And this is the problem with these reps, can't do that. They can't issue refunds. And this is the thing where they were saying in one of the copy pastes that was going around Facebook, you get this great customer service. I'm like, well, no, it's not great customer service. You have no control over refunds. I mean, you go anywhere that, that the margin that is made and the amount of people that do want refunds is so tiny, it's not worth arguing over. Even if, for example, they've tried your product and it wasn't your product that caused the reaction, but they don't care, they think it was. Is it worth it to argue with them? And if they're so sure, do you know what? I'm ever so sorry. I'm so sorry. Have the money back, because that's what I've experienced. Now I put my hands up and I say I am a person who, I'll complain if they bring the wrong food in the restaurant. I will say I'm not a person who sits quietly. And I have found that, and I'm not rude, if somebody gets rude, I will say, excuse me, I'm not blaming you to the waitress, but this is all wrong. And usually they're so, I'm so sorry, you know, have this, or if they've done it really badly and you've had to wait for it to be cooked again, it's have a voucher here, a voucher, because that costs them so little but gains them so much. And in the MLMs, it's kind of because they know that they're probably never going to get a repeat customer again. They don't really care about that element of customer service, because it's like, well, do you know what? You're only going to buy it once, the charity buy, because it's our reps who are the customers.
Yeah.
So the business bombshells don't need to give refunds, although they ended up giving her a refund after my video. They don't need to give refunds to people because they know she'll never be a customer again. It's burning her skin. It's burning everyone's skin. You know, we'll keep your money because you're not coming back anyway.
The majority of our customers, and we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of customers, the percentage of our customers that are return customers is higher than new customers. And that is because of the customer service that we give, because of the amount of time that we spend with our customers. We've got a dedicated admin team online on Facebook that will support and help and answer any questions. We've got a designated support group on Facebook where people can learn.
You got 11,000, haven't you, in there?
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Where have you been? Goodness me.
You know, to us, the customer is why we're here. That's the whole reason that we started our company, is because we had something that we needed and wanted to share to help people.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason people join MLMs as well is because they want their own business, but they just don't know what to do with it. And there's nothing to stop them, you know. It's like, gosh, I'm the biggest cheerleader of small businesses.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I love it. I love supporting small business. I will choose genuine small business over anyone else. I'll go to a local butcher. I'll buy creams off that they've made themselves, off anyone. I'd love to, and I'll pay more. I'll choose them, even if it's less convenient than the supermarket. I'll still choose to go to a friend who's made something herself. All day long.
I think if you have been in the MLM world and you're prepared to do what they ask you to do, to sell somebody else's product and not benefit financially from it, what you could do with your own business, the sky is
that drive, that ambition.
Absolutely, because the people
that working and never stopping working, you know.
Because these things, from when you're in that situation, from the minute you open your eyes until the minute you go to bed, you're like, who can I message next? Who can who can I comment on next? And you know, it's hard work.
Whereas if you were putting your own products on there and telling your actual friends, they'd all be like, wow, that's brilliant.
You done this?
How amazing are you? And this is the thing, this is another thing that I put the thing on with the Avera eyelashes. I mean, even if you don't want to develop your own product, you could go on that supplier in China, right? She showed me, loads of different types of eyelashes. You go in, a couple of you do a bulk order. If you even design your own, box the lot. You bring your own eyelashes out. Yeah. You know, it just takes that bit of confidence. Takes that bit of confidence, and the amount of money they're ploughing in that goes up in smoke. Bloody save that money for a few months, and you've got enough to do an order with the Chinese supplier. You don't need to manufacture for yourself. And this is it. I think they lack that confidence, and I think the MLM it's this kind of underneath hidden message. Well, you could never be the CEO in a legit business. So join our pyramid scheme, and you know, and it's like, well, no, you could. You could do anything you wanted to, really, in this world. Anything you wanted to. Yes, there's going to be barriers, especially if you've got kids to look after, but there's nothing that isn't achievable with education, with ambition, with hard work. That there is nothing that isn't achievable, and that's what I want these ladies to know. And I would love it if we had a sort of, I know in America, like I mentioned, I spent time in America, there is this sort of much stronger entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, I was in my 20s in the young people in America. There is this sense in them that they can do it. If they put their mind to it, they can do it, which I don't get so much in this country. But I would love it, you know, if we did have, you know, more people coming forward, more sort of business owners, mentors, real mentors in the business world, coming forward and saying to some of these, you know, disabled people, single mothers, hey, you send us your ideas. Send us, you know, your ideas for a makeup range. What's your ideas? Let's see if your ideas have got legs on it. and let's turn these ladies into real businesswomen, into real business owners, because sometimes they've got the creativity, they've got the ambition, just don't know where to start, and they're living in council estates with a couple of kids, and they don't have any confidence, and nobody's giving them the time of day.
I would
the tragedy here.
Yeah, I would definitely say, if you have ever walked around a housing estate in the freezing cold while it's pouring with rain, posting Avon brochures, if you have ever sat up till 2 o'clock in the morning going through your friends list, messaging messages that you're embarrassed to send to people, if you have ever tried to get your friends to do exactly the same as what you're doing, even though you've got that shadow of doubt that it's not going to work for you, you have got absolutely everything inside you that you will ever
you need
to build your own business. You have got foundations there. It's just finding what you want to do, and the best way to do that is to find something that you're passionate about. What do you absolutely love, and then think outside the box a little bit. And even if it involves you doing some online learning, the Centre of Excellence is fantastic. At the moment, they've got courses for £29 on practically every subject.
I saw something as essential oils, as everything, isn't there, that you can kind of sit at home and learn the foundations for.
Exactly.
I'm totally with you. There's nothing that can't be achieved with education and ambition. There isn't. And that's coming from a person. I'm going to sit here and say, I'm not a particularly ambitious person career. I mean, I wasted most of my 20s, going out and enjoying myself and going on holiday. I've never been a massively career ambitious person. I think it changes when you have kids, though. It changes when you have kids, or you have somebody that depends on you, or you're in a desperate position, because now, for the first time, I've sort of got kids, and there is that insecurity. I mean, I was lucky that my husband does have a good job and I didn't have to go back to work after I had them. But there is that insecurity now with the coronavirus, and I sense it, that like, oh, bloody hell, what if he didn't get another contract, or, something went wrong in where he is now and he was out of work. There is that sense of, what could I do with something that I could do? And I do get that inside now. So I now, for the first time, probably do feel ambitious. And I think that when I look in some of these MLMs, I see women with, like I said, single mums, they've got no one to rely on, and they've got this thing and they've got to do it. There's no kind of failure. Failure isn't an option for some of these people. They don't have husbands that can support them. The fathers of their children may have gone off into the ether somewhere, and it's them. They want to get off benefits and they want to provide a good life for their kids, and they are so motivated, but then they are steered down this pit, and it's probably all of that is ripped out of them, and then they kind of go along into the world again afterwards, recovering psychologically, and they've lost something. And this is what I want to stop happening. I want women, whoever, with that in them, to be directed into the right way and to really make something of their lives. And this is the only way. I mean, we're in our economy's tanked. How are we going to get out of this? I'm talking long term. We need to help people who want to do it become entrepreneurs, business owners. If you've got somebody sitting there and she's creative with makeup and she knows, like, she's done a course in essential oils and she's just got no money, she could, with the right investment, the right guidance from somebody, a mentor, she could be bloody exporting essential oils all over the world.
And people think,
employees.
People's first perception is that you're going to have to buy in loads and loads of stuff. You don't. For instance, it's not Sleepyhead. Sleepyheads. Our very first week that we started MCC, all I sold was 3 bottles of Sleepyhead, which is just what it says on the tin. It helps you sleep. I thought, this is fantastic. This is our own product, and we've sold 3 of them this week. How brilliant. This was me posting them from home, handwriting labels to post them, going to the post office and physically paying for it over the counter for them to stick stamps on it and post it that way. And that was it. We sold 3 bottles our first week. if, say, for instance, you had a design for a makeup bag,
three more bottles than you ever sold with Forever Living.
But say you designed a makeup bag and you thought it was absolutely fantastic, and you got 5 made, just 5.
Yeah.
From what you make from selling those 5, the next week you can buy 20.
Wow. Yeah, this is it.
And then sell those 20. And then the money that you make from selling those 20 the next week, you might be able to put an order in for 100.
Yeah,
and it's your own business, and your outlay is less than what it is to join an amount in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. But the amount of money they're pouring in, I mean, God, some of these ladies, I mean, a couple of FM ladies, they've got hundreds of pounds worth of FM stock in the house. They can't sell it. God, you imagine how much they could have bought in sort of materials, or, you know, bought from directly from manufacturers in China, then resold it on. If they, you know, you don't even have to be particularly creative. You just have to have an eye. So you say, well, that's good, and maybe I could resell. I mean, that's all Avera's done, is they bought these eyelashes from a manufacturer in China for about 10p each, and they're selling a set for bloody nearly £40. That's all they've done. The new skin, the same. They found a supplier that can make this machine. They've altered the design to be unique to their company, and they've, you know, the way I said, it's obviously a lot easier, but I think the first step is having that confidence that you can do it. And that's what you've done, Beki. You've done it. You've done it. And Becky's done it, everyone. She makes her own products now. She was in Forever Living. She now makes her own products that people actually want to buy, that people actually find value in, that you can't get from anywhere else but Beki. Yeah, you know, and you can do this too. You do not need to shill crap that people aren't interested in buying. You don't need to humiliate yourself day in, day out with the most cringy messages to people. You don't need to do that. And if you have been doing that, right, and you have been putting yourself out to that extent, then you've got everything you need to be able to do it on your own. Beki is a testament.
Never put anything in a message that you wouldn't be prepared to pick up the phone and say to somebody over the phone.
Yeah, it's quite true, isn't it? It's true, because honestly, I mean, some of those messages, messages I've had, I don't now. I mean, even at the time, it wasn't like I wasn't there like laughing at them. I was there thinking like, bloody hell, you know, stupid. But if I had to live knowing I'd sent such embarrassing messages like that, it would be one of those things that every single time you thought about, and I don't know if you get this, Beki, do you sort of, your insides sort of crush into themselves? Because I know it would with me, and that's why that's what I feel. Is I'm that person that remembers embarrassing things, and so I mean, my heart goes out to anybody who has ever been through that and goes through it now. And I want them to see you and know that they could be doing what you're doing.
You know, when you've got a quality product, I don't have to message anybody. People message us if they want to talk about the products, and I will talk about and help. I'm not talking about the products. I'm finding out how I can help somebody. And there's been plenty of people that have said, oh, you know, I've got such and such. You know, well, I've got kidney stones. Will Pain Slayer help me? And I'll be like, no. You know, no, I don't really think it will. Have you been to your GP? And being genuine, being heartfelt, having a fantastic product, that's what being in business is all about. Exactly. There's so many, and I know there's so many.
And I absolutely love that kind of rock motorcycle vibe you have to your product, because that's going to get, you know, that's going to appeal to this whole sort of more masculine market, isn't it, of people who probably don't typically go down that route. They've got a bit of pain, but they see your product, they're like, oh, actually, I'll give that a go. You know, that's a bit of me there.
It's who we are. Me and Mark are both bikers, hence name Motorbikers.
Yeah.
And
there's a gap in the market. You've literally filled a gap in the market, a gap of these kind of like people who would probably never walk into Boots and go down their sort of aisle and pick up some sort of like pastel blue or pink lotion. They'll go to you and okay, I'll have this. This is more like something that I could use.
Yeah. We were never going to be sage green with lotus flowers.
Well, exactly, because there's a million of those, and all MLM copy each other. But you filled a gap in the market. You've got your own niche product. You filled a gap in the market. You have a huge customer base, and I just think what you've done is amazing. I think what you've done is absolutely amazing. And I think you're such an inspiration, Beki. And I'm so glad that you came on today, because I think that you prove that you can be as clever as anything, a bright people. Anyone can get sucked into an MLM, because you're a very intelligent lady. You're a creative lady.
I knew that we're in it. We're very, very intelligent women as well. You know, I don't think I've ever met anybody that wasn't. You know, they're all lovely, intelligent people who just wanted to better their life.
Exactly.
I totally get that. We all want that. But, you know, doing it under your own steam, with your own business, helping people and being genuine, and feeling love and support around you for people wanting to support you, it's just a million miles away. You know, it's if you are running an MLM at the moment, and you are if you're doing it successfully, then fantastic, and I applaud you.
But look what you're doing it successfully off the back of. You know.
But if you are in a situation where you're struggling and but you're still going through these motions, do it for yourself.
Anyway, these are pair of coming up the stairs now. So Beki, thank you so much for coming on. I know it can be a bit of one of those things. I know you do lives of your own, so I didn't doubt you'd have the confidence to come on, but I'm so glad you did, because honestly, you are an inspiration to me. And I think that if you just inspire one person who watches this, just one person, that is
I would love somebody to tell us that they've decided to set up their own business.
I would too. And Beki, can I pass on? I will put in your link to your Facebook page. Can we tell women, if there's anybody who wants to set up, that you can give them advice, and that you can almost sort of be a real mentor to any lady who comes along and says, how do I do this, Beck? I've got my own idea for something. Could you put me in the right direction?
Yeah, absolutely.
Becky will tell you. She will put you in touch with things. She'll show you, give you the resources. She's done it. She's a real mentor. She's a real entrepreneur. This lady is a real entrepreneur, not a silly, stupid entrepreneur, a real entrepreneur. And I'm speaking to her now, and she is prepared to give you hints and tips, all the advice. How did she do it? And get in touch with her. And we're going to wrap that up now, Beki. All the links will be below. We have got our slogan, ban the scam, because as far as I'm concerned, network marketing, direct marketing, MLM, social selling, there's 100 names. They are the scam. They are the scam of our times, and they are the scandal of our times. And with enough of us together, Beki, we can get rid of them, can't we?
Absolutely.
We're not going to shut up about this. None of us are. Beki's not shutting up. None of us are. I'm not.
It's difficult to shut me up.
And me. I don't know if you've noticed. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Till next time. And if anybody else would like to come on my channel and share their story, you are very welcome. Get in touch via my Miss Bonley Facebook page. Right. Bye, Beki. Bye.
Darling. Bye-bye.